Oh my goodness, everyone. Look at the time. It's time for another episode. This is the 6th episode of the Young Show, the Full Album Challenge. I'm your host, Chili Burns. Here's your other host, El Blasto. Say hi.
Hey everybody, this is episode 666. But someday we'll actually get to that number, but for today it's what it is. And Lord bless the Blizzard and Activision. That's all I got to say for today. You AAA fuckers. But yeah, so full album challenge,
I feel like you might want to elaborate on that a little bit.
I stream
I sense a rant coming on. Go ahead.
Oh, here it comes. Okay. But first, the rules, we go through albums, we pass or fail depending on how much willpower, pure willpower that we have. And
we have to get through the whole thing or else it's a fail. Start
yes.
to finish. Can't skip ahead. Nothing.
2 minutes by yourself and you feel shame. Then you get free. But yeah, I said that because I'm doing a lot of streaming, and it's amazing that the gaming industry is bigger than Hollywood right now. As far as like the money being made and the culture that is surrounding it and everything like that. Like Hollywood's dying, and because they've been idiots for the last 10 years, but AAA games, I get sucked back into these games where I'm always like, oh, that was the dumbest season ever. I'm just going to skip the next one. But, because I want to entertain people and freak out all the time, I do streaming. So, and I went back to Diablo 4 and I'm locked in. I have to go for it. But man, there's indie games out there that don't freeze up. They don't, they're not all about trying to get you to buy stuff constantly. Oh. And the graphics are better. The stories and writing are way better. This game came out, Diablo 4 came out, and it made $666 million. Yeah.
I get it.
What a cool number.
That's a coincidence, man.
But that much money,
scarier than fiction, people. Wow.
That much money, and they can't put out a consistent product that doesn't crash, and doesn't have issues and bugs all the time. They release the season, and then they come in afterwards and they say, oh, well, yeah, the main thing for next season is we did a bunch of bug fixes. Well, how much money did you make? And I'm looking at other games that I do stream, but it doesn't get me the views because it's a lesser known title.
Yeah.
But it's a superior game.
People know about it.
Yeah, and so I'm back into Diablo 4 because, it gets the looks and everything like that. And I'm good at the game. I've been playing it since day one, but Blizzard, you're such a money-hungry, greedy bunch of assholes, and the writing is absolutely terrible. So, and I don't want to do an entire game review, but I'm just saying that I don't understand how they make so much money and they still can't get it right when other people with not even an eighth of the budget come up with something that'll knock your socks off.
Yeah.
So, and it's happening across the board. Bungie's in big trouble and Activision's in big trouble, and Blizzard, they're always stupid, and
they're always stupid.
They're always stupid. Yes, this is consistent. But screw them. Well, this last couple of weeks, actually, we took a week off. We listened to 3 albums, and this is for Ladies' Night because all of these were solid female-led bands.
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe.
Yeah, and they were really good, I must say. Not to spoil anything, because doesn't mean we got through the whole thing. We listened to 3 albums that weren't particularly popular.
No.
But hey, we wanted to see. We want to do Ladies' Night. Who doesn't want to do Ladies' Night? We did Ladies' Night.
Yeah,
It's pretty solid, man.
and I gotta say, you know, while we're recording this, sports ball is going on for the hordes of Busch Light drinking people
Yeah.
that love
The
that
the
kind of
National
stuff.
Sports Ball League.
Yeah, National Sports Ball League is got some games going on right now, and we were talking about this in our startup meeting here, and it was just like a sweep is a new term for when everything doesn't suck enough that we pass everything. So, spoiler alert, every single one of these I passed. I didn't fail
Whoa.
a single one.
Dang, man.
So, why is it that we've been listening to some heavy hitters, you know, like from Rick Springfield to, Pink Floyd and, all these other humongous bands.
Taylor Swift. I hear Taylor Swift is pretty popular, so I hear. You listen
Right.
to her.
Yeah, we wonder about that anymore these days, but somewhere her cult is still brooding and
Oh, they're plotting.
spawning.
Yeah, they're
Like
plotting against us, that's for sure.
yeah, like those sons of bitches. We're
Yeah,
gonna
they're
get
gonna
them.
find you. You're gonna be disappeared one day, and then you're just gonna like little bits of you're gonna be mysteriously added into someone's zucchini bread here and there in a store. That's what's gonna happen to you. You know,
Yeah,
I
but
want to say that publicly before, so the conspiracy theories are proven later on. El Blasto disappeared. Oh, look, a new line of zucchini bread came out by some Swifty fans. Uh-oh.
well, El Blasto disappearing isn't actually that much of a strange thing because I was at the gas station the other night and I kind of zoned out and I thought for a second that I had just left my truck and started walking on the highway
Oh,
with my
perfect. Yeah.
with my cane and just like I'm heading west. I don't give a shit where I go. Just get me west. And then I kind of woke up. I was in my truck and I was like, "Oh, I didn't walk." So
Goodness.
the Alzheimer's is kicking in. And that's fun. Um, but
Uh,
but why is it that well, this isn't a bad thing, and I'm not trying to be like a chauvinist by asking this, but why is it that all three of these female-led bands kick the shit out of 80% of the other stuff that we've listened to? Like this was really good. And
yeah. Part of it, I think, and I was going to bring this up too. Part of the problem with music, with popular music, like 1990s ish and on. Before then, like in the 60s, in the 70s and 80s, to get listened to, even get any recording deal at all, you had to be a fantastic musician. Everyone in your band had to be a great musician.
yeah.
It doesn't mean your band's going to be great. It doesn't mean you're going to sell a lot of records, but just to get that start, you had excuse me everyone, coughing up coffee. Anyway, uh everyone in your band had to be a really good music. Look at bands like, man, fuck, here we go again. Here we go again. I'm gonna fucking doom us to another shitty album. Steely Dan. Fuck. I hate Steely Dan.
Yeah.
But god damn it, they are some of the most amazing musicians that you'll ever come across in rock and roll. And probably jazz too. Amazing. I just don't like anything they put out. There's a lot of bands like that, but especially from the 70s and 80s. But Steely Dan is one of them. They're all fantastic musicians. We just took a listen to Journey last time before Steve Perry showed up. The whole focus of that band was, you're all great musicians.
Yeah.
Let's put a band together of great music. And it didn't quite work out until a great vocalist showed up, because Greg Rowley wasn't a great vocalist. Steve Perry was. And tons of Jethro Tull never really got a lot of props except for the really simple songs. But if you listen to some of their full albums, their stuff, they're ridiculously gifted musicians. Everyone that's ever been in that band has been crazy. Frank Zappa, another guy, he just wanted to fuck around. But he was such a great musician, he couldn't help himself. And he'd write these songs that were so complex, had weird beats and weird instruments and weird fucking people, weird concepts. Joe's Garage is still one of my favorite albums of all time. So funny. But he was an unbelievably great musician. In the 80s, you still kind of had that same thing with a rock band. There was some leeway with new wave showing up. Like
Yeah.
I think the guys like from Devo are actually really good musicians, but it's like when you're that good of a musician, you know all the rules of the game in music, and then you know how to break the rules properly. And to make simple sounding, simple songs that are still great, but it's not like, it's not like Mozart put the shit together. It's just these guys knew music. They broke it down into a simpler form and made it to where they knew it would sound really, really good. And that happened throughout the 80s quite a bit. And that's where you like Rick Springfield, which we kind of tore apart. Right? I got through the whole thing, but you didn't. But
No.
the one thing I did say in that episode, Rick Springfield is actually a pretty fucking good guitarist. And to do us to another album, maybe. You know who's a fucking killer guitarist, killer musician? If you would have told me as a teenager I would be saying this someday in my life, I would have probably thrown myself off the top floor of the window of the 5th floor of the tortured poets department of the corporate office.
Yes.
For Christopher Cross is an amazing guitarist and an amazing musician, like the captain of the yacht rock ship.
Oh
Christopher
boy.
Cross. He is an amazing musician. Like you'll hear a lot of like studio insiders say that about him. Like I never would have guessed, but he really is. Anyway, long-winded way to say, to tie it back into what we listened to this week, we listened to Concrete Blonde. That album came out in 90 or 91, I think.
Yeah.
The Go-Go's, I think it came out like 82. And then Girlschool, Hit and Run came out the Go-Go's album was Beauty and the Beat, clever,
Yes.
early 80s. And then Girlschool was, I think, 84, 85, something like that. So my point with all that rambling on is that they couldn't just be girls and get away with it. That shit was for Bananarama.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
But the Go-Go's and Girlschool and probably Concrete Blonde, they had to be really actually good, skilled musicians and good songwriters to even get a look. And I think that's where we ran into a huge diamond in the rough this week.
Yeah. Yeah. And so just to start off with, you just mentioned the Go-Go's. I was surprised at what I heard, because everybody's heard "We Got the Beat." We got the beat, and
we got it.
yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
I thought that was just going to be the entire album because I'm used to listening to pop music where,
Right.
like it's like they don't even like fucking boy bands. They didn't even play instruments. They just got up there and danced and did the same thing over and over and over. And
It's fucking embarrassing.
yeah, it's fucking. But this album, Beauty and the Beat, was like We Got the Beat was like song number 6, I believe. And so
Yeah.
like if you just bought a record, back in the day in the 80s when this was popular, it was just like, so what are you going to get before the main track? When you listen to the full album. Well, I was really shocked to hear that it definitely sounded like everybody in the band was a skilled musician. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And
I took that away too. I think it wasn't, how do I say this, not being a dickhead about it. It wasn't fantastic musicianship in some of the songs. And
right.
it's always easy to pick out like the guitar solo, how it's not fucking Dimebag or it's not Jimmy Page or, Stevie Ray Vaughan or someone like that. They're not all going to be that. But it's still fucking better than I am.
Yeah, me too. The bass player girl, she was really good. Like I was listening, I always pick out the bass because I like playing bass, and I really was just kind of struck by that. In a couple of songs that really she was out front, which is like, oh, that's a bass player, that's a good one. Like if they put it out front like that. And the songs were more serious than I thought they would be. Like I said, I kind of
Yeah.
expected a bunch like 12 versions of We Got the Beat,
Yeah.
just
You expect it to
completely.
be upbeat and poppy and always
Yeah,
happy, and then that's not what I got.
no,
And
no, it
that's not what they
was,
put on the album.
yeah, some of it was kind of sad, and some of it was kind of vindictive, and it was actually like, well, this isn't really pop, like, so the Go-Go's just really came out of left field for me because I had only heard We Got the Beat.
Mm-hmm.
from them on every 80s, popular song album that you could find. It's got
Yeah.
that one on there, but the
Any
rest of it
radio
was,
station you listen to that like pumps out old '80s, today's classics and yesterday's favorites on WSUK or fucking whatever.
yeah.
They'll
And
always crack out that one song. Or what was the other one that was a hit on the album? It was Our Lips Are Sealed. That's the other hit on the album. Anyway, go ahead.
right, right. And in my notes here, I put, chicks used to rock back in the day. Do they anymore? Because like you were talking about just a moment ago, it was like they had to be something back then. They didn't have auto tune. The boy band
Yeah,
thing hadn't started like the Britney Spears and all that kind of shit where she doesn't play a fucking guitar ever. She doesn't
right.
do anything but like look pretty and dance around. And so, this
Totally
was,
manufactured success, which is the plague of the music industry right now. And I don't want to beat up on Taylor Swift for that. I had other notes on that later, but that is the plague of the music industry right now. Is manufactured hits. You'll see a guy show up on some TV show on broadcast TV during prime time, and you'll think, who the fuck is this? Why is he on this show? And all of a sudden, because the executive decided it, the executives rather, he's suddenly globally famous. Just globally famous, and he's not particularly talented. He's just there he is, or she is, and that was the case with Britney Spears and so many others. I don't want to pick on Britney Spears too much either. But anyway, go ahead.
yeah,
Like,
like, and you're absolutely right. I mean, it's gotten so toxic that they literally announced that the sports ball halftime show for 2026 is going to be Bad Bunny. Have you listened to
yeah.
that fucking tool? Oh, Jesus, that would be another challenge, I think, that I would
Oh,
probably fail because he's a modern rapper. He's kind of a fruit, and it's just like,
fruit.
why the fuck would you put this in sports balls halftime, for all of the like Miller Lite chugging, fucking
Yeah, yeah.
badass middle American people, and you're gonna bring on this like, flamboyant, weird, stupid shit. It's like bring I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but bring Creed back.
Yeah. Yeah, at least they play their fucking instruments and
Right,
man, I gotta say, Creed is like it's a guilty pleasure. Just kinda like Journey was. Like I don't you're not supposed to like Journey if you're a guy back then when they were popular, but some of their songs are fucking bangers, man. They had a lot of good songs. I can't help it. Creed,
right.
I don't know if they had as many good songs, but there are some songs by them where I thought, fuck, that rocks. Like Paul Tremonti's a really good guitarist. I think that's his name, Paul Tremonti. Just Scott Stapp is a fucking douche. At least he was. I think it's super funny, not to get off on the Creed thing, but I think it's super funny that Scott Stapp now laughs at himself for what a douchebag he used to be back when they had the world by the world is your oyster, boys. It do what you want. Write your
Oh,
song
you
about your
guys are
heavenly stuff.
huge. You're like Scott Stapp. You look like Jesus. You should act like Jesus and do a fucking video where you are Jesus. It's gonna be
Maybe
great,
you are
baby.
Jesus. Scott
Uh,
Stapp, you are Jesus. Yeah. Anyway, I think it's great that now he looks back at those days, like we all do. I look at things I did in my teens, 20s, 30s, and think, fuck, what an asshole. Why would I ever do that? I'm so stupid. But he's, but at least I wasn't in the public eye. He was in the public eye and it was all out there and fuck. But now he's able to look back at that and laugh and go on tour with Daughtry and Three Doors Down, I think they did.
yeah, yeah. And,
Uh,
but, kind of angling back into what we were talking about is like, oh, Creed is a great example of how males dominate the rock and roll world, because for one reason or another, I don't know if females just generally gravitate towards like, well, I want to learn a guitar. The first fucking thing that I want to do when I'm a teenager is like pick up an instrument besides a fucking horn or some stupid school band bullshit. Nothing
yeah.
against that, but lame. But to pick up and rock, and like make a
Yeah.
fucking band that's gonna be out there doing something special. and
Yeah.
they had a lot of competition because it was just dominated by male-led bands. So bands like these that we listened to, they had a lot to prove. And I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
that really shines in how they play because they're aggressive and they're really good. So I just found the Go-Go's it didn't feel scripted, which I thought it
That's
was gonna
yeah,
be,
that is
you
a
know.
great way to put it. It was not yeah, it was not manufactured success. It was actual hard fought. You fucking earned its success. With Belinda Carlisle and the rest of the girls. And again, music historians, go fucking complain to us all you want. Leave it in the comments. I don't know all the members of the band. Although I did look up at the bass player because you mentioned her. Kathy Valentine was the bassist. She deserves props because it's hard to stand out with a bass, and she did.
Yeah, yeah, she
Um,
was good.
yeah, but you're right. It wasn't manufactured pop success. It was actual success. You guys made it because you're good musicians, because your band is good. You write good songs, you perform good songs, you sing well. Again, no auto tune. Harmonization was there. I'm big on that. There wasn't always a harmony. There's also for you young recording musicians out there, here's a little trick of the trade. And I know this because I have a terrible singing voice. I can stay in key, but like Bob Dylan, I should not be singing lead. But I can stay in key. But recording tip, if you record your vocal track, record another identical vocal track, or record yourself singing the song again and lay those two tracks over each other. And that will dull out a lot of the pitchiness and I skipped or I missed the note a little bit here. It evens all that out. So there you go, young musicians with your little recording apps, whatever you use on your fucking phones these days. That's all anyone ever uses now.
And
Record two vocal tracks over each
and
other. Not a harmony, same notes and everything.
once again, I'm gonna bring up the Violent Femmes because they suck. Whoever you are, I guarantee you're better than somebody who's gotten multi album deals. And
Uh-huh.
we've brought them up in every single episode since we did listen to them, and
Yep.
it's just they're our example of like, don't ever give up because you're doing something good unless you are the worst person, and in that case just don't do music anymore, like get
Yeah.
into skydiving or fishing or
Get into skydiving, sans parachute.
yeah.
Try that. Try cliff diving with no
Yeah.
water, just rocks. Try that.
Oh, I did mention that somebody needs to take it was just some libtard on Instagram, and they were going off about some stupid shit, and I was just like, this girl's really so angry. She should take up cliff diving. I got a bunch of likes on that one because they were like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, God dang. I hope the Violent Femmes appreciate the publicity we bring them because there's no such thing as bad publicity. So saith Madonna and many other controversial stars. But man, they show up in every episode. I saw something that I think that album we did, Hallowed Ground, was like 1984.
Hmm.
So like that blows my theory, by the way, completely out of the water. You need to be good musicians even to get looked at. They don't fit that bill, man. They did
No,
not know music enough to break it down to be able to break the rules properly to make the average. They just weren't. They're just not weren't. They weren't good. I don't know what they are now. They were probably fantastic musicians now because it's a long time later. But no, you're
no,
right. But the reason I brought up that double track recording to hide mediocre vocals is because Belinda Carlisle didn't have to. They did it some on this album. I always listen for that, or I always notice when it happens. But she didn't have to do that. She just has a good voice, and she wasn't just like
yeah,
singing in key. And again, not beating up on Taylor Swift for no good reason. Taylor Swift doesn't like. I don't hear her like really belting out a note. You're like
no.
screaming out a note, staying in key, like Concrete Blonde, or who's the other one? Was it
Oh,
Concrete
girls'
Blonde?
school.
Yeah, Girlschool. Anyway, like you don't hear her belting out notes. Linda Carlisle was belting out some fucking notes, man. And she sounded good doing it. Like she was
Yeah,
really good. Anyway, so
yeah,
I took a few notes on these two. Our Lips Are Sealed. That's just a great song. Like that's why it was a radio hit, people, because it was a good song, and there's no way around it. And it'd be kind of cool to hear like a guy metal band remake that song too. See
yeah.
what that sounds like now,
That would
because
be
it
pretty
was pretty
cool.
timeless musically. How Much More? That was kind of a 50s-ish feel to it. It's good harmonies, and like I took a note down on that one too. Because remember in the 80s, 50 stuff was like retro chic in the early
Oh
80s.
yeah, the Stray Cats
Yeah,
and
yeah. I mean,
the
just like
whole
fashion wise,
yeah.
wearing the Levi's, the pop collar, the loafers, and a lot of 50 stuff was coming back then. And then later on in the 80s, the 60s started coming back. So anyway, I thought that was a cool 50s vibe in that song. That's rockabilly vibes in some of their songs too. The song Tonight was solid. And then I took a note down the song This Town. That actually would be a cool metal cover. I want one of you metalheads out there that has your own metal band. Cover the song This Town by the Go-Go's. Because it's a solid song, man. The only thing was like it said something about being really like so glamorous. Maybe you want to alter that lyric. That doesn't sound very metal, but
Just go for it, man.
yeah,
I
just
mean,
fucking do it. Yeah, quit being such a misogynist,
yeah. Quit being a
sexist
square
pig.
daddy-o.
Yeah. Right. Oh, let's see. Then Fading Fast was that was a oh I took a note too. The song Fading Fast I thought was the most average, dull song on the album. And then I said it could be covered by Taylor Swift about a boy she no longer loves. That's what the
Oh,
song's about.
shocker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Taylor Swift could do that. Song Automatic was good, a little bit slow, but the cool there's a cool riff in there that works well with the harmony and the vocals. And that song had a fucking cool bass line in it. Props to what was her name? Kathy Valentine?
Yeah, Valentine.
Kathy Valentine. Props to you. That was solid.
Yes.
You can't walk in your sleep if you can't sleep. That was a clever lyric, I thought. The
That was a
song
good
title.
play on words. I remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was and it was kind of like, well, you can't talk in your sleep if you can't sleep because I murdered you.
Yeah, right.
That's kind of the vibe I got from that one. So, yeah.
Yikes. Yeah, yeah. I thought the silliest thing on the album was, although the song, I took a note down, the song rocks, and it proved you can rock without having to have like distortion going. You can just fucking rock. You have to have good tone. You have to play your guitar well, but you don't have to. It didn't have to be. It wasn't distorted at all. It was good. But the song was called "Skid Marks on My Heart," which
Oh
like
yeah.
cue the Beavis and Butthead laughter because guys only think of one type of skid mark, but she was talking about other, whatever.
Yeah.
Burning rubber, like yeah. But then she said, "Burning rubber like my love." I don't whatever. The song rocked. I've listened to dumber songs and it's cool, Friend of you out there who listen to fucking Bon Jovi, fuck you. You like good music with shitty lyrics. So if they only had one song on the album like that, if
Yeah.
that's their loaded six string on her back, then it's fine.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Well, speaking of skid marks, in by the hot rod method,
Oh
we
wait.
yo
I didn't say. I didn't give it away. Ladies and
oh
gentlemen, fans of the show, I passed the Go-Go's. It was a success, a renowned success. I enjoyed the entire album pretty much. It was good.
success, both on both. That it was definitely worth a listen to. If you're
Yeah.
bored and you're just like, my buddy asked me the other day, he was just like, man, I'm just sick of listening to the same shit. Do you have, just give me 3 albums to listen to? So I was like, oh, no problem
Beauty
there,
and the
buddy.
Beast.
And I didn't mention the Go-Go's, but I am now. It's just like, seriously, if you're just bored and you want to listen to a good album, put on the Go-Go's Beauty and the Beat.
Yeah.
It was actually really decent.
Yeah. If you're looking for another band to kind of get into that nobody else is really into anymore, check out this can't be the only good album. They put out a few other albums before and after this, so this can't be the only good one. It's probably the best. They had a couple hits on it, but anyway, I would recommend people listen to this album. That's not usually we get to an album because we have willpower or because it's so stupid it's funny. Enter Kiss,
right
again, Violent Femmes again.
Oh,
but no, this one I actually like the album, so I would recommend you guys go listen to it.
and it didn't make me want to physically throw up like Pink Floyd's Pipers at the Gates of Dawn or whatever.
Nausea not included with the Go-Go's.
Boy, oh boy.
So God, that's so great.
But yeah, the burning out skid marks motif was the first track on Girlschool,
Hit
and
and run, baby, hit and run.
yeah, hit and run. And it started with like the Mick Mars kind of trick
Yeah,
where
yeah,
she used the guitar to make a revving sound of a car.
yeah. A car
And
trying to start up.
yeah, and it was actually pretty cool. Like it was the
It was
first thing I
awesome.
heard on the album, and I was like, "Whoa, that's interesting," you know?
Yeah, fuck you,
So,
Mick Mars. Your little
yeah,
motorcycle. Well, we can all do that. Here's a
yeah,
fucking 71 Buick Riviera trying to start up its 454 fucking 460 engine. And blah 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 blah.
yeah.
Fuck, that was a
And then,
guitar. Holy shit.
whoa,
Yeah,
whoa, you know, and it sounded cool. So I was
it
just
was
like, all
cool.
right, you got my attention, girl school, you know. And honestly, like you had made a joke with your friend Brian that you were gonna make him wear a girl school shirt, but I had never
Yeah,
even heard of them except for Don't Touch. I think Don't Touch is the name of the song they did with Motorhead.
yeah, yeah.
So going into this album with that knowledge, I put the pieces together that basically they were heavily influenced by Motorhead. I've got to give it to the drummer of this band. That girl knew how to play double bass with precision, and she kept it going for a long time on some of these songs. And it was like double bass. That's something you just never really hear much of in like even bands like Kitty, you know, like they
Um,
don't have solid songs where it's just like furious kind of death metal double bass,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
or speed metal or whatever you want to call it. And
yeah.
this girl kept it up. It was a very Motorhead-ish album. I could definitely
Oh yeah.
feel, yeah, the influence there was thick. And all of them played their instruments very well. I put down that the lead guitar is impressive, and if I said that, yeah, she knew how to make it, you know, and it wasn't overbearing. It wasn't like, you know, G3 brain melting kind of shit. It was just right.
G3.
Yeah. You know, could you
Oh, talk
imagine
about a
going to,
challenge. Oh my God.
yeah,
Writing that down.
could you imagine going to one of their shows without Advil? Oh my God.
Or a fucking escape plan to sneak out the back door within the first fucking 20 minutes.
Yep. The song number one, 15 minutes is over. I'm
Yeah.
leaving. Bye bye.
Yeah, fucking
Oh man.
tapping and chiming and wahs and fucking whammy bars and three of them. Oh, it's just
Well, yeah,
exhausting.
one of
Wear
them's
me out.
bad enough. Steve Vai is bad enough on his own. But add Yngwie Malmsteen and
Oh,
the cool guy, whatever his, I can't think of his name.
Steve Vai, Malmsteen, Joe Satriani.
Joe Satriani. Yeah, he's the only cool one out of them. But yeah, these girls, and I looked up because I remember a sepia tone photo of Girlschool and Motorhead where they're all dressed up like 1920s gangsters and flappers. And I
Nice.
remember looking at the girls and just being like, "Ooh, babe, you kind of
Hey,
homely.
fellas, how's it hanging, fellas?
What's up, dudes?" You know,
Yeah,
like
can I get a dip?
they would definitely be on board for getting a dip, you know, from somebody's back pocket can of
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
chaw. You know, I put down not lookers, but they got better looking over time. So very good, ladies, for your like midlife era. You all look a little bit better, and that's superficial. I shouldn't be, but hey, it's you know, it's what you look at in your rock and roll gods is
Yeah. And
like,
you know,
whoa,
to be fair, to be totally fair, first of all, there's a lot of ugly motherfuckers in rock and roll, man. A lot of dudes like Lemmy, speaking of Motorhead, not a handsome man.
nope,
Pick out any guy in the Ramones you want. I can go on and
yeah,
on. But the point I was gonna make, then you get on to the fucking hair metal bands, and they're all like so pretty. It's fucking ridiculous, and it like it was a requirement and that's kind of why it all sucked because they were all so pretty and literally made up and hair teased up to the fucking ceilings. Like it became superficial for men in rock and roll for a short period. Didn't last long.
Absolutely.
Didn't
Absolutely.
last
Look
very
at
long. God,
Poison's album cover of Look What the Cat Dragged In. And
God,
just
dude.
tell me that that just isn't straight up drag. That,
Gender bending, people.
oh
Gender
man.
bending.
But they got more female attention than any
Yep.
other rock and roll I mean, a lot of really good bands always complain about, like, well, this is, here in the tour bus, this is my bunk, but it never gets any action because nobody wants to have sex with us. And, but back then you had like Poison and Warrant
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And teenage girls had their fucking posters up. Mike
Yep.
Slaughter. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
What a real,
Bon
talented
Jovi.
musician is just
Yeah.
like, no, he was a pretty Pegasus, so uh prancing
Oh
around.
God.
Teet, 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 teet.
Yeah.
Uh, but Girls' School, they covered a ZZ Top song, and it was not their like imagined version of it. It was just like kind of a better version than ZZ Top.
You
You
thought
know,
so?
I kind of did. It was Tush, and it
Yeah,
was
yeah. I remember that. I
it
remember that
was
being my
just
least
like,
favorite song on the album. So we differ there.
yeah,
I thought it was
well,
kind of a forced, contrived. Hey, I want you girls to sing about just going to get a piece of ass, just like the guys do. I want you girls to do this song too and prove a point. I thought they kind of struggled through it. Musically, it was all right, but I think the vocals were like, I don't know, this isn't like this. I don't know. Billy Gibbons sings this way better than I'm ever gonna sing it.
yeah.
Music, I don't think it was bad musically though.
Well, I think that the music was pretty awesome for it because it was a little more energetic, and just it stood out to me. But yeah, I mean that's where it's a matter of taste. But
I,
I did enjoy that one. Ultimately, it comes down to, like, with bands like this, it's like, could I party to this? Oh, absolutely.
oh
Ab-
fuck yeah, I'd love to.
Absolutely. 100%. If this album was playing and I was at a party, I would be completely happy with the background music,
Yep.
so
Oh yeah.
um so definitely worth a listen. It was definitely it's almost exactly like Motorhead in a lot of regards,
Yeah.
musically. Um
Yeah.
so
I took that away from it too. Yeah.
but yeah, that's I passed this album without any problem. So
Yeah. Yeah. I'll
success.
spoil it right now. Yeah. Success. I'll spoil it right now too. I also passed this album because it was rocking, man. They're good music, good rock and roll musicians, man. And that's men or women, they're just good rock and roll musicians. The vocals I thought were good. They weren't perfect throughout, but again, no auto tune. It was the early 80s. I don't need it
Hmm.
to be perfect. I don't need it. I don't want it to be perfect. It sounds overly produced when it's too perfect.
Yeah.
And I get that there's a market for that, but this was raw rock and roll. Hey ladies, show up, plug your guitars in, plug your bass in, get your ass behind those drums, you pull up to that microphone and just fucking go. And we'll just record whatever you guys play. And it was fucking good. So I should get on to the story of Bry. So in college we had a roommate named Bry, and he was a he's a funny, he's one of the nicest people, but he's super quiet, and you would never know that he's a metalhead, huge metalhead. Like he'd go in his room and just start blasting Slayer. We used to call him a robot. We'd say like, you're just going in there like how you recharge your batteries is with thrash and death metal. That's that just recharges your lithium batteries in your body or whatever. And so, but he would wear like Slayer shirts and Cannibal Corpse shirts and shit like, and this really meek, like average size, not menacing at all guy, a metal nerd kind of,
Yeah.
but super funny guy. One of those guys that when he speaks, it's so rare, but it's gold when he speaks. It's so fucking funny. Part of it is because fuck, you spoke and it was funny. Holy shit, it's just amazing. So, but one of the things we told him when he would misbehave or when he would like spill a drink or not finish a drink at a party or whatever, we would tell him, we're going to make you wear a, because we didn't know girls' school fucking rocked. We just thought,
Right.
because I want to back this up a little bit too. When you, back then, this is 90s. So this is when grunge came out and he's still listening to thrash and death metal and actual metal.
Yeah.
We didn't know anything about girls' school. But when you first look at it, you think, gimmick. Oh, I get it. They're a hard rock band. Oh, except it's all girls. Oh, I get it. Clearly a gimmick. And that's how you thought of it. And then you see the fucking, and the logo, girls' school. It's not like, Iron Maiden, fucking Slayer. It's girls' school. Well, that's kind of, I don't know, man. So that was the joke. Whenever Bri like spilled a drink or didn't finish a drink or would do whatever, his punishment was going to be that you have to wear a girls' school concert shirt all around campus for like a week. And we thought it would be the funniest thing, and it would have been fucking hilarious. But now, man, egg on my face, people, because I passed the album challenge for girls' school. Not just because I got through with willpower. I got through because it's a good fucking album, man. It's really good. Like the thing you took note of, the fuck you Mick Mars moment. It was like, your little motorcycle, that's cute. Listen to this. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. And replicating the sound of a muscle car trying to start up in some redneck's driveway. Like, I got a 71 Buick Riviera boat tail, primer gray, and a 460 engine with blowers sticking out of the hood and 19 tailpipes and, little shitty, like, used tires on it. And there's only a passenger seat. There's no driver's seat. You got to sit in the back. Whatever.
And a door made completely of Bondo.
yeah. But yeah, I took the time to shave the door handle off so I can climb through the window like a cool fucking Luke and Duke Hazard.
Yeah, actually, I welded the door shut, and it's like, but it's got nuts, baby.
Sorry, that was Bo and Luke Duke. Bo and Luke Duke of Dukes of Hazzard. Anyway. Anyway, so I thought that was cool. Like, the first thing I heard, like, I know it's gimmicky and I know it's meant to say, hey, check this out. This is a cool trick. But it was actually fucking cool. I liked it. And then next song, Come On, Let's Go. It had a clever, that was the first song. Yeah, I even put, clever car starting sound effects with guitar whammy bar. In your face, Mick Mars.
See, we both gravitated towards that. It's like, Kickstart My Heart just sounds like that's a complete fail now.
Yeah, it's ruined for me now. Girls' School ruined Kickstart My Heart for me now because it's fucking better. And the song rocked too. And then they had The Hunter that had a cool riff. The way she kept whispering, The Hunter, kind of like, whatever. Kind of goofy sounding. But it sounded, that's the one I thought, when I first, the second song, I really heard a good mix of Motorhead and old Def Leppard, like High and Dry Pyromania days. Def Leppard.
Oh yeah, On Through the Night. Yeah.
Bring On the Heartbreak, that kind of stuff. And a little bit of Angus Young in the soloing style too, which I thought was great. One thing too that is lost in rock and roll, and it used to happen all the time, in their third song, I'm Your Victim, it starts off with the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it just fucking rocks.
Oh yeah.
Songs, people don't do that anymore. And that's fucking, that is a great way to get the crowd fucking amped up. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. And I thought that was great. And it was good. That was a good song. Kick It Down. I put, that was an okay song. Oh, that's the one where they had like a kind of a crappy noise solo in the middle of it. And it kind of reminded me of Andy Summers of The Police, and that solo he does in the song Synchronicity too, where it's just him howling and feedback and, still fitting the song. It was all right, but it was clearly like they were experimenting that. But then it kind of, later on, it got rocking, and I thought of a song you brought up a while ago as one of your favorites. It kind of was reminiscent of Whole Lotta Rosie as the song carried on.
Oh yeah.
It was really rocking. Following the Crowd was good. Yeah, then I already talked about the Tush remake, which I thought was kind of like, they said, okay, look, I want you to be really aggressive in this, and I want you to go and score a guy in a bar. That's what this song's about. Women can do it too. Now go do it. And it just sounded a little bit contrived to me, although musically I thought it sounded fine. But had I heard that song before anything else, by them, I would have been, oh fuck this. I would have thought, yeah, they're a fucking gimmick. I'm not gonna listen to any more of their stuff. If that's the
Yeah.
first song I ever heard by them, I would have thought, fuck this. But thankfully
Yeah.
it wasn't. Instead, I see it as the other way around. Everything's rocking, but they're kind of forced to do this one cover. And so I'll live with it. And again, it wasn't bad. Hit and Run song. I put now this is an attempt at a pop song, but I don't think it worked. I would have to check. Like that might have been a release where they tried to make a radio hit, but I don't know that it ever was. And I didn't take the time to check. It's not worth it because the whole album was still a good song. I thought with more character in the vocals and better production, that it could have actually been a huge hit. And it was the title track of the album. They kind of blew it with that. They could have really had a huge hit with on their hands, but it was still a good song. It was all right. Watch Your Step, Back to the Start, the drum beat. Oh, I did have one diss on him a little bit. Back to Start. Drum beat sounds like a Casio keyboard in the beginning.
The 5% nation of Casio tones.
Yeah. Oh man. And then the song "Yeah Right" was a back to like fucking pure raw rock and roll. It was great, and that's why I think it was one song after that, maybe two. Anyway, that song "Yeah Right" was back to rocking, and that's why bands back then made full fucking albums because it had a flow to it. Started off rocking, kept rocking, slowed down a little bit, eased you into it, and just as you're like, come on, get the pace up, they fucking rocked again and closed out the album. And that's how they would do. I would imagine that's how bands in general do live shows too. Get you fired up right out of the gates, kind of lull you to sleep a little bit, do some of the other thing, and then before you go, boom, here's the fucking pièce de résistance.
Yeah, here's where we're gonna melt your fucking face right before we send
Yeah.
you home.
Yeah. We're gonna get you amped. We're gonna wake you up for your car drive home. So
Yeah.
anyway, I passed the album. I thought it was awesome. I even sought out the bonus track that was not on the original album, Please Don't Touch, and that was good too. Solid. So they re-released it. I don't remember when, but like in the, I don't know, maybe within the past 10, 15 years, it might even be within the past 5 years. I don't know. They re-released this album, and instead of the Buick Riviera boat tail on the front, it's like a 1970s Chevelle on the front. The front end of the Chevelle. So, whatever.
Okay.
They like the classic cars, you know. Hey, had a girl. Good job.
Well,
But
yeah,
anyway,
it was
solid. And it was
bombastic.
not a fucking gimmick. This band is not a gimmick. They're actual good rock and roll musicians. And I would totally wear a Girlschool shirt willingly in public. And if anyone gives me shit, I'm going to tell them, fuck you. You probably like Motley Crue. They would kick Motley Crue's ass.
Oh, physically and
Yeah.
and fundamentally.
Yeah.
But yeah, they rocked. I mean, it
good.
surprised me. I thought it was just going to be like, because they never got traction over here in the States. I never saw them on
a long time, dude. They've been busy since the early 80s, still doing shit now.
Yeah, they're still playing now somehow, and they never got on Headbangers Ball. Never saw a Girlschool video.
Oh, that's a good point.
Or anything like that. So, how the hell would I have ever heard of them if it wasn't for Motorhead and them doing Please Don't Touch? And but why didn't they? Because hey, it's an all-female band. This is a niche thing, and they got the chops, and yeah, I wouldn't want to fight any of them at a bar, because I guarantee you the shit they've put up with, in the trenches starting out was probably like, oh my God, they can drink me under the table and punch me in the fucking face, and it's all good.
And then go play a 2-hour set. Yeah. Can you imagine like them walking into the bar in like 1978? Hey, we're the band playing. What? Get the fuck out of here. No, we're Girlschool. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, fine, girls. Let's see what you got. Go. You got one song to prove yourself. And then just go up there and just melt faces.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should have gotten more traction, man. Whatever.
Yeah. And it's just it's kind of sad that that they never got picked up, like this, because for all we knew, it was just a band with a dumb name, and it was just kind of like, oh, Girlschool, that's not edgy. It's like, what the hell is that? But boy, they proved themselves on this album. So yeah, Absolute
I
success.
just thought of something ironic too, is that they would have been a better fit for the name, the band name Cinderella, and they'd probably kick Cinderella's ass too.
Yeah, they'd have those femboys running for the doors for the exits as soon as they came in, just like,
Yeah,
who wants their ass kicked?
yeah. Who's the dead man going on stage before us? You're fucking Cinderella. Get the fuck out of here. Give me your
Yeah,
guitar too. Leave it there. Leave your guitar right there. Don't fucking walk away.
you stupid raspy voice bastard, get out of my face. Go buy me a drink.
Yeah, get out of here, you half a sissy, before I give you a slap. Oh, god dang it,
Absolutely.
man.
So, third band rounded out was Concrete Blonde with Bloodletting, and I suggested this one.
Yeah.
So what did you think of it?
Well, I would say it wasn't quite what I was gonna expect.
Mhm.
Like, the way you talked up the first song, Bloodletting, I think I had to quote Kiss, I had great expectations.
Oh, damn.
Oh man. But it was kind of corny. That song was kind of corny. It was kind of pseudo rockabilly-ish, kind of like I put it was kind of theatrical, and it kind
Yeah,
of like had a female Glenn Danzig tone to it, or not tone, I guess, but like a Glenn Danzig feel to it. Um, but but I got through it. It wasn't bad. It was still a pretty cool riff in the song, kind of theatrical for me. But what I did get, oh, Kitty, I love that. What I did get out of this is that I had to remember. I try to do this with every album we listen to. I try to put myself in that era of when it came out, and this came out in, I think, '89 or '90.
I think it was
It came
90.
out right as hair metal was dying and grunge was not quite in yet. So it's kind of this dead area of popular music where, well, people are sick of hair metal, but there's nothing to replace it yet. Nirvana still sucked, or wasn't a band yet, for all I know. So I put myself in that mindset, and I got through the whole album. It was a success. I got through the whole thing. It had its moments of like, come on, move it along here, sister, move it along. But for the most part, I thought it was good. Like, The Sky is a Poisonous Garden, that song had a great energy at the beginning, and it was a great contrast to the first song. And again, that's why you listen to a full album, because the first
Yeah,
song had this feel to it, and just as you're getting sick of it and it ends, it goes to another song that is still the same band, totally different sound, and it's a flow. And I got that through this whole album. It flowed really well from beginning to end. I didn't dig all the songs, but I didn't gong any of the songs either. I got through the whole thing. And the one thing that I really wished would have happened is, and I'm gonna have to look up her name because I don't remember, the lead singer. I was waiting the whole album through for her to really belt out a kick-ass, like, goosebump type vocals, and
yes,
it
big
didn't.
crescendo.
Yeah, yeah. In some of the, and I never really, I got it a couple times, not as good as I thought, but her voice is still really, really good. She has a really good, like, baritone-ish voice. I was impressed with her vocals, and because I knew she had good control of her vocals, I thought, come on, let's hear it. Belt out something. And then, like, I was waiting for, like, we mixed this up before. I was waiting for like a Four Non-Blondes moment where it's like, holy shit, like, that's a
Yeah.
voice blew me away. I never quite got it. I got a few hints of it, but it was still really good, like really good vocals throughout the whole album. One thing that my biggest critique of the album,
Hmm.
the guitarist, fucking A, dude. I'm gonna pull the whammy bar off your guitar. You can't use your whammy bar anymore. I'm gonna unscrew it and I'm gonna throw it in the fucking dumpster outside. You need to just not use it on every solo. Fuck. But anyway, it didn't totally ruin the album, but that was one thing. It's like, dude, you're probably a better guitarist than that. You probably don't. Why don't you bend the note with your left hand?
Right.
Bend the string. Back
Yeah.
away from the whammy bar, dude. But my general note, this, and I'm gonna read this raw. This is an example of how experimentation and production quality can make something fairly simple sound much more complex than it actually is.
Yeah.
That's what I got from this album. I thought it was very simple, but it was produced really well. not overproduced, produced really, really well. Like they had a vision in their head of what they wanted this to sound like and how they wanted it to feel to the audience. And they got through that with production. It wasn't anything fancy. It was just, well produced. It was really good. Days and Days, that song has a kick-ass bass riff to it. That song, like for you bass nerds, fucking hey, that was a really cool bass riff in that song. Then it also had a kind of a mix of back to 80s pop and rockabilly. And that damn whammy bar again.
Oh yeah.
That was in track 6. I was already like, fuck, dude, get off the whammy bar. And then the Joey was a good song. She finally belted out some lyrics and some vocals in that song. And I thought that song was I thought it was gonna suck. I thought it was gonna be a Taylor Swift, like, fuck you, Joe, you broke my heart. Now I'm then what am I gonna do with that? But it wasn't anything like that. It was a cool song. And I also put it kind of Joey though. Who gets heartbroken over a guy named Joey? Maybe Joseph, maybe? But maybe it was a throwback to Friends and like maybe Chandler was too contrived or it'd be too obvious. Ross. Nobody sings about a Ross.
No, there's no Ross. That's too weird of a name.
Yeah, I guess Joey Tribbiani. Hey, whatever. I put in there more fucking whammy bar, goddamn. But best vocals on the album on that song. And then the last one I'm going to say, the song, I think it was the last song on the album, Tomorrow Wendy. Yeah, the last song, Tomorrow Wendy. What a downer of a song. Fucked up. It actually, I had to do some research on the song afterward because it's so dark. It's about the history that I learned on this song. Well, first of all, the song is about a girl named Wendy who fucking dies. She kills herself. So I'm like, man, that's dark. What's the story behind that? You don't just write a song about that thinking, I know it'd be a cool song. Paul McCartney, I'll write a children's story. No, I got a good one. Let's write a story about a girl who fucking kills herself. And tomorrow she's just gone. Fuck, that's dark. So the deal was, there was a band named Wall of Voodoo back in the early 80s. They had a huge hit, thanks to MTV back when they used to play music videos. They had a huge hit called Mexican Radio. I'm on a Mexican radio. It's a real goofy song, but everyone's heard it at some point. Everyone our age, at least. But the lead singer of that band wrote this song about this girl, Wendy, who she was kind of a druggie. And she contracted. Remember, this is the 80s, the late 80s at this point, 90, somewhere in there. This Wendy girl contracted AIDS. And so for those of you who've seen somebody die of AIDS, it is the worst imaginable, longest strung out death you can imagine. Seeing someone go from 250 pounds to 80 pounds before they die, and the whole time they're in it's like, I won't even go into it more than I have because I've seen it and it is awful. I wouldn't wish it on anybody's worst enemy. So this is back in the late 80s, so we were fully entrenched in the whole AIDS epidemic. This girl, Wendy, contracts AIDS. She decides, I'm not going through that, and I don't fucking blame her. So she decides to kill herself by overdosing intentionally on heroin. So she just kind of decided, tomorrow that's it. And she overdosed on heroin. And that's what the song's about. Now this guy, Andy Prieboy, Prieboy of Wall of Voodoo, wrote the song. He also came out with a solo album the same year this album came out. The song Tomorrow Wendy is on his album. But he wanted a version where it's just a female voice because of Wendy. And so the lead singer of Concrete Blonde remade the song. He asked her, hey, can you redo the song? So they made the song with her vocals only. On Andy's album, they both sang on it. And then on this album, only she sang on it. So it's just the female voice. The music is exactly the same. And these two albums came out in the same year with the exact same song on it, same musical arrangement, everything. Just the vocal track was different. One was the two of them, like a duet, and then this one was just her. That's the history behind the song Tomorrow Wendy. And it's a dark, fucking depressing song, man. And that closed out the album, which I didn't feel great. It didn't drive me to nausea like Psychedelic does you, but anyway, but still, I gave the album a pat. I thought this is another band that probably should have gotten more traction, but they fill in that empty area of No more hair metal, guys. That the ship is over. Sorry, guys, hair metal's dead. It's dead, baby. I can't sell you records anymore. And grunge hadn't showed up yet, so they just kind of floundered around in this purgatory of pop music, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Well, for me, it is the most subjective album that we've covered for me personally because it goes back to 94 when I first went to college. And I had just I was in a big city from a small town. It's just like, what do I do? I don't have any idea. I don't have any friends out here. They're all like 60 miles away and everything like that. And I was just, the first day that I was there, I got my stuff set up and I didn't have much. And I walked outside and I just stood out by the railing in front of the apartment buildings that we had that were right next to the college. Just standing there, putting out the vibe, watching people come and go. And then I hear, "Hey, are you cool?" And I looked up and there was these two girls. Both of their faces were in the window and they were just staring at me, like,
Are you cool?
"Are you cool?" And I looked up and I was like, "Yeah, I'm cool." And they were like,
He said, "No,
"Come
I'm
on
a
up."
fucking dork. I'm a total dork. Why? Why do you ask?"
"No, I'm a complete piece of shit.
Yeah. No,
I'm not
I'm not
cool."
cool, and I'm kind of dangerous. Why?
Yeah. I'm a serial killer cop.
Yeah,
Uh, but
yeah. Should I leave my dagger in the bushes now, or do I want me to bring it up to the room?
so and I remember just looking at these girls and one of them had black hair and she was half Asian and the other girl had white hair and it was teased up with I mean she was still holding on to the way things looked in the 90s
It could have
and
been CC DeVille for all you know.
actually it could have she had Cece's hair uh,
Oh,
for sure. And their names were Holly and Maria. And if this, I'm glad this is being recorded because I I lost touch with them. But um, if anybody knows the pair of chicks in Kirkwood College, Cedar Rapids in the 90s named Holly and
nice.
Maria, they were pretty popular people.
This is your
If
wanted ad, published
yeah,
live.
yeah. If we could figure out what happened to them, I would be it, just 100% appreciation. But I go up there, and everybody left their doors open in this apartment building because it was constant partying. So,
At
you could just
college? What?
yeah, you could just literally just walk into somebody's, front room and just be like, "Hey, what's going on here?" And they'd be like, "Come on in, brother. Yeah, woo." And they were up there and they had the coolest looking apartment. They had wall hangings and all this other stuff. And I remember that the first thing that I heard was Bloodletting when I walked
Wow.
in. And I was like, "Oh wow, this song sounds cool," and because back then I think I went to college with 3 albums. I had The Cure, Disintegration. Yeah, I was kind of sad at the time. Butthole Surfers, Independent Worm Saloon. I like to raise hell. And Weezer, the Blue album, just because it was, if you had some normies over, you could just be like, "Oh yeah, put on the
Yeah.
Weezer album, Buddy Holly,"
Yes.
and they'll love you forever.
Oh my
And
God.
but I struck it up with these two, and we became like a trio of people that were inseparable. But these girls introduced me to what goth was, and that's exactly what Concrete Blonde
Mm,
is like a goth hard rock band, not the goth of like Joy Division where it was
right. Right.
mostly synth and stuff like that. This was actually like they play their instruments and they're
Right.
edgy, they're dark, stuff like that. And so that was the first song that I heard, and I was like, "Who is this?" And they were like, "Oh, it's Concrete Blonde. Like we love this band and everything like that." So we all became really good friends, and we became so goth that we would, for fun, we would we would go hang out in giant cemeteries and not, no vandalism, no stupid shit at all, just for to be in that environment, I guess. They were a couple of goth girls, and so it really reflected why they like this. And the hook of, there was another big cultural phenomenon going on at the time, which was Interview with the Vampire, the movie was
Oh
released
yeah, yeah.
around this time, and it took place in New Orleans. So I kind of put it together, and I was like, this is a vampire song about New Orleans, and this movie is so cool. And it was just, and I was just enveloped into this goth culture of hanging out in graveyards and doing acid and stuff like that. So but it like the album ended, it also ended, the last time that I saw Maria, which was the blonde haired girl. She didn't look so good, and it made me feel sad. But so every time that I listened to Bloodletting, but I had never listened to the whole album because they just played that song, and they also played Joey. When
Oh
that
yeah.
one came on, I was like, oh, I recognize this one. But I
And
had,
it was written about Joey Tribbiani, right? That's the one.
yeah, yeah, that Joey over there, silly ass.
Dr. Drake Ramore, I think he played.
Yeah. It was like they it just brought me back to whatever it was. But I remember listening to something else by Concrete Blonde, and I was like, well, that doesn't sound like Bloodletting at all. So I thought this album was actually gonna suck more than it did. So as subjective as I love Bloodletting, it was like I kind of expected this album to be like, oh wow, this was just a stinker. That was really the only good song on it. But it listening through it, I was just like, yes, this has definitely got the goth thing going on.
Yeah, yeah,
It's all minor chord. It's really kind of dark and brooding for an album, and so it just brought me back to those days,
yeah.
which was fantastic. And these girls were so cool. Like they took me under their wing. Without them, I wouldn't have had that much of a good time in a big city because of the culture shock and all
Right,
that
right.
stuff. But they had impeccable taste in music. They introduced me to Marilyn Manson when it was the only album he had out was Portrait of an American Family,
Oh
which
wow.
is
Wow.
the only one I like by him, by the way. And they listened to that religiously, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. And we just hit it off, and for like a year we were the we were the dangerous trio. But I think though that this might be just my overactive imagination, but I remember when their boyfriends came from whatever shitburg they came from in like western Iowa, which western Iowa is a lot different than eastern Iowa where I live. Eastern Iowa is beautiful. Western Iowa is exactly what you'd think it is. It's like flat, and
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
nothing but patchwork quilt fields and a couple of barns. And they came from one of these really depressing places, so their boyfriends came up. And I was like, well, this ought to be interesting to see. Well, wow, what a band of freaks. I mean, they must have been, the cops were probably having like meetings at the bowling alley about like, these kids, they're awful dangerous and they're full of drugs. They're a bunch of hippies. Well, I think one of them's boyfriend's name was Joey.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, and he was a total tool. Like he was a real, like, he had long straight hair like Neil from the Young Ones, the hippie guy.
Yeah.
And he told me a joke that was the worst and most drawn out, like, philosophical joke. Like he was trying to wax like he was so fucking intelligent.
Yeah.
And he laid this thing out, and then he got to the punchline, and he laughed like a motherfucker. And I just stared at him like, I don't understand a word you just said. And and it was crazy because these guys were, like they were total like Fish fan hippies, whereas the girls were the edgy ones, like, and it, if they listen to music like Concrete Blonde, it makes sense because Holly had a live grenade on her, uh, little knickknack shelf. She let me pick it up. Those things are heavy. And I was just like, this is a real grenade? She was like, yeah, if we pulled the pin and threw it out the window, it'd blow something up. And I was like, oh my God. She had switchblades and brass knuckles. And it was just, it was one of those eye-opening things. I'd never seen chicks like this before in my life. It was
No,
like,
no.
wow. And then they listened to vampire shit and early Marilyn Manson and stuff. So you can kind of put two and two together here that they were
Yeah.
a little spooky, but once, like I said, they were the nicest people to me, and so forever Bloodletting will be, a song when it comes on. I'm not disappointed by any means because it brings back a flood of memories, and they're all
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
So
Isn't that cool how music will just take you there are things that obviously happen in people's lives where you remember exactly where you were, what you were doing when it happened.
yes,
There's the Challenger blow up, there's the JFK assassination, there's 9/11, da, da, da. But there's music that takes you back to exactly what you're doing when you heard that song, or exactly what you're doing one of the times you heard that song that was something really memorable. Like there's all kinds of stuff like that. I just think it's cool that they like a typical 80s, like a John Hughes movie, two girls peek out the window, hey, are you cool?
yeah.
uh
I, I
well, I
was
could lie to you and say yes, or I could lie to you and say no. I think I'm pretty cool, but the fact that you had to ask, maybe I'm not. But by the
well,
time I think about it, opportunity will be gone. Yeah, I'm cool.
I,
And then you go
I
upstairs and you have live grenades.
Yeah, live grenades, switchblades, brass knuckles, probably a 6-foot bong. I'm pretty sure they had one of those. This
Uh,
was rage in 1994
oh yeah,
and
man.
forevermore. For the next year, it was a nonstop party. But they were very selective about people. If you weren't cool, you weren't getting into their apartment, and you weren't gonna bask in their glorious, like being. They were the coolest people I'd ever met,
Yeah,
up until that point. I was just like, wow, like from my hometown, there was nobody like you guys.
yeah, yeah.
And yeah, literally, are you cool? And I kind of looked over to the side, like somebody else standing here. Like, am I not cool? I don't know.
I
I don't
don't know.
understand this.
You tell me.
And so, but yeah, this was the most subjective thing that we've done. Hi, Crimbus.
Crimbus
Oh, he's a baby boy. Oh, he's a baby.
just pops up.
Um,
Boing.
but and obviously success
Yeah.
on this one, so
Success.
that was good. And so ladies' night was a complete success all across the board. So
Yeah.
great job, ladies. I don't know why half. Well, 80% of the other, male-led bands that we've listened to have sucked compared to, you know,
Oh
what
shit, man.
what these ladies did was just like, man, they had a lot to prove and they proved it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I agree, man. And I
you
just
know,
wanted to shout out to um Concrete Blonde because I kept saying their singer, their singer, their singer. Her name is Jonette Napolitano, and she has a really good one of those voices that is like I said, kind of baritone-ish and almost like a haunting type voice, which I would gather fits in well with your college buddies in that crowd. And that
yeah,
album came out in 1990, so it was like right as hair metal was dying a horribly, well, actually a very appropriate but horrible death of mockery.
yeah, a
And it was
fiery
like,
car crash.
yeah, yeah, a very slow, fiery car crash with the doors locked and they couldn't get out, and their
the,
Aquanet went up in flames with their hair.
the door was welded shut, remember?
That's right. That's right. The Girlschool girls welded the door shut and sent them on their way. Cut the brake lines on the way out of the driveway. So go ahead, boys, have a good time.
As soon as they're out of the driveway, pussies.
Yeah, a bunch of
Uh,
fags. Yeah, you guys look gay with your hair. A bunch of fags, and sent them on
yeah.
their way.
Watch me, faggots.
Yeah.
But
Remember, kids were talking about the 80s when people said that stuff all the time. We're just
Yeah,
in the
we're
moment, so don't get
we're
mad at
Gen
us.
X, so everything's gay and retarded, and just
Yep,
get
it
over
has to
it.
be.
Get over yourself. There's no safe space. You can take that and shove it right up your ass.
Yep,
So,
yep. That's have to be your safe space, straight up your ass.
uh, so
Can you even imagine going to your high school principal because you got bullied at school and saying, "I just don't feel safe"? My principal would have kicked my ass right there
yeah,
on the spot. I was trying to explain this to my mom too about Gen X, and basically I boiled it down to this: you either got bullied or you bullied someone, and we all did some of. Every one of us got bullied, and
yeah,
every one of us did some bullying. That's how you survived in the pecking. That's how you found your spot in the pecking order. And that's how you made. Honestly, it's how you made a lot of friends too.
yeah.
Not necessarily the people you bullied, but anyway, she didn't understand. I didn't know you got bullied. I'm like, Mom, I'm Gen X. We all got bullied. Like, first of all, the 80s was the best time in history to grow up for a teenager. Fucking fantastic time to grow up.
Yeah,
Just unsupervised
yeah,
skateboards and BMX bikes everywhere. All the soda you could drink, arcade games, talking shit, saying bad words at a far too young age,
yep.
at home alone because both parents are working. It was an amazing time, and friends everywhere, parties. I didn't do a lot of partying in the 80s in high school. I wasn't that guy, but there were plenty of parties to go to, plenty of things to do. Oh, man, trouble to get into, and just like the nonsensical go TP your buddy's house type of trouble, you
Yes,
know, that
yeah.
kind of stuff. But
It
yeah, the 80s were fantastic. Yeah, but I was explaining to her, Mom, you either did the bullying or you got bullied, and you did both. Every one of us bullied people and got bullied by somebody else. That's just how it went, man. Natural order of things. How it
well,
went. And it was
I
great.
was I was 101 pounds in high school. Unfortunately, my high school years were 1990 through 1994, which was the most dark, depressing, shit ass time of the planet.
Oh,
Except for now. So right now can fuck right off. As
aw.
far as I'm concerned, because I'm tired of this shit. But I was bullied relentlessly, but I just used my brain, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna join the wrestling team. And so if anybody by default fucked with me, they're fucking with the whole wrestling team.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and I made varsity the first year, and my bullies pissed off. They did not mess with me ever again. And so it was like, because I proactively did something about it, I didn't sit around and be depressed and complain and
Yeah, yeah.
say that I don't feel safe. And fuck, the world isn't safe, people.
Right.
Come to grips with that, because it's there's you can't keep hiding from this shit. You got to stand
Yeah.
up and just puff up your chest a little bit and hold your head
Yep.
high, walk with purpose, and people won't fuck with you.
Yeah.
Be less gay. Fuck.
Less retarded. And here's what you do to make friends. You peek your head out of your fucking window and say to the guy walking by, "Hey, are you cool?"
Yeah. Hey, are you
And hope
cool?
you get yeah, hope for an honest answer and invite him up.
It and it worked. It
Oh
landed me
God,
some
it's
of the best
great.
friends. But like I said, once
Yep.
again, if anybody knows of Holly and Maria, Kirkwood Community College, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, 1994, and you know anything about them, because I don't remember the last names, so I have not been able to find them on the social medias.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's kind of sad. I'd like to see where everybody is, but that's because it's just like this. It's a me thing, like
yeah,
this
yeah.
whole album was definitely a me thing. But
Well, I'm glad you suggested it because it was a good album. That's that again, like we said before, that's nothing I would have ever like the Go-Go's. I never would have volunteered to listen to it unless we did this show. I'm glad I did because it's fucking great. Same with this, it's a really good album. I thought it was a
yeah,
really good album, especially in the way albums flow from start to finish. The journey that it takes you on, it was really good, especially for that purpose. It wasn't my favorite musically of the week, but it was
no,
really good. Any other week, fuck, it would have been my favorite because every other week kind of sucked because there's always a there's a real POS somewhere stuffed in the middle of all that. A shit
yes.
sandwich, and we're all gonna take a bite.
I think we
But
were
this
kind of
really,
hoping that one of these would be a shit sandwich, but none of them were.
yeah,
It was just like,
yeah,
so this has been the most positive episode that we have had so far, hands down,
yep, yep,
for this. But that's great too, because I hope that more people just like go out and check these albums out if you're bored and you got nothing else to do. It will, it'll give you a good time for a short time.
yeah.
So,
And if you're listening to us on Spotify, there should be a link in the description to all three of these albums too. So that we do that
yes.
for, we try to do that for all the episodes. We put a link into them so you can just go there and stream it. We don't expect you to go buy an album and play it on your record player or your CD player or your cassette player or your fucking 8-track. Anyway, so yeah, go find them there. But yeah, all these three are totally worth a listen, not just because they're women, but because it's good fucking music, man. It's all really good. I still recommend people go listen to Kiss Destroyer because it's fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah, it sucks, but it's actually fun to
It's-
listen to because it sucks.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
it's
like
hilarious. These girls, the girls from Girls School, would have whooped Peter Chris's ass singing Beth. Don't sing to me like that. Don't tell me you can't come over because you're at a show.
she'd
I
have
know what
come
you're.
up and kicked the guy in the balls and punched him in the face and made him fall off that stool and then just like threw the stool out of the room and been like, "Now let's rock and roll," you know,
She would have beat him to death with the fucking phone.
and wrap the cord around his neck like, "Yeah." But so if you guys have listened to us this long, we appreciate you more than you can even understand. And thank you for everyone who has been giving us suggestions. And I think that going forward, we're going to try something a little different. We're going to do a single album
Yeah,
for a show and a couple of them a week, and so it's, because I would like to think that everybody is just like, oh yeah, I love listening to these guys for an hour and a half, but the TikTok brain has taken over, so a little shorter on the time span might
yeah.
go for it. And so for next week, at least preemptively, I'd like to put a shout out to Gilbert. Thank you for suggesting our next challenge, which is really going to be a challenge too, because we're
Oh
going
yeah.
to do Radiohead Kid A. And I've read a lot of articles about Radiohead, and there are a lot of people who think that they are just the greatest, most groundbreaking band that has ever graced the airwaves. And they have a sordid history for me with, like, they came out with the song Creep, and that got played at least 4 times a day on MTV at one point. That video, it just was on constant rotation. So, but I listened to the rest of that album and I was like, um, this is terrible.
Yeah, that was Pablo Honey. Yeah, I
Yeah,
listened to that album a long time ago too because, like you said, Radiohead fans are. And again, man, I hate to always give this disclaimer. People like who you like. It's fine. It's fine. Doesn't mean we have to like them. Doesn't mean you have to like what we like. But man, Radiohead fans. I should just call them Radioheads. Radioheads are pretty freaking ravenous about their favorite band, Radiohead. Like they're pretty enthusiastic about it, and they want you to listen to Radiohead because they're geniuses. They're musical geniuses, and they're groundbreaking. They're so new and they're so smart. And I listened to Pablo Honey. I thought, and that,
yeah.
all right.
It was a crash course in mediocrity. That's for sure. Nothing, nothing except for that stupid little
Yeah,
in Creep. What, nothing else on that album stood out in any way, shape, or form. But
yeah, yeah,
I understand that they completely changed their sound after that one too, which is, typical of a lot of
yeah.
bands that everybody says is geniuses. Is like they started out like, like David Bowie. If you listen to like his
Oh yeah,
original, um Who's that hanging from the apple tree? Hanging from a branch. Don't be surprised, it's only me looking for a little romance. And then he went
Oh,
and did Ziggy Stardust and
yeah.
all that stuff, and he completely changed. And everybody loved him. They said he's a genius and all this stuff. But he started out just as like the worst British Boston pop thing from a holdover from the 50s and early 60s. And it was
Yeah.
just
He's the guy
like,
that lent his bike to Sid Barrett, I think.
yeah, he did. It wasn't Harry the Boston. It was what's
David
his
the
nuts.
Boston. Yeah.
But um, uh, Radiohead went ahead and made music that is critically acclaimed, like
Yeah. They've
highly.
won 3 Grammys, dude. We looked that up. They won 3 Grammys. That's no small feat.
So I got a hold of Gilbert and I was like, so, but we were thinking about OK Computer, right? That's the one
Yeah.
that we initially talked about.
Yeah.
And it was like, and I asked him, I was like, so, like, which one is more of a challenge? And he was like, go with Kid A. Go with Kid A 100%.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is for Gilbert. We're gonna do this one,
Yeah.
and we'll see. We'll see what's going on. It sounds like he's into him, and he wants to, hear an opposing view.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Hope you don't burn any bridges,
yeah,
Gilbert.
well, like the disclaimer you just gave,
Yeah.
no one can hold anything against anybody for the music they like
Yeah. It's so
because
funny how we get into these camps of bands you like and bands you don't like. Oh, those guys suck. And then you get mad at each other. Think, what is wrong with you guys? Like Kiss
yeah,
Army. Hey, love Kiss all you want. I get it. I understand why you do. I understand I can't like Kiss because I've tried. I've given them a good listen a few times, and I just, man, the makeup and the boots and the theatrical nonsense. But like I said, there's so many bands out there that you can or cannot like, and whatever. Like Radiohead. So the other thing about this Radiohead album, Kid A, it actually fucking won a Grammy for,
yeah,
what is it, a best alternative music album in 2001. So, uh,
that checks
but
out.
OK Computer won the same Grammy in '98. I'm looking it up now. In '98. So yeah, we're gonna, like we say, I'm gonna give it a go, man. I'm gonna give it a go. We'll see if it's I don't know, man. We'll see. Pablo Honey, I think, was just so blah to me, and so I wasn't as impressed as the rest of Planet Earth was with it, apparently. But
Yeah.
we'll see about Kid A. I think Kid A is either going to be way better or way worse. We'll see.
Or
But give it a
yeah,
go, man.
a
Give it a
big
go.
giant nothing burger, but I don't think that that's going to be that. I think it's going to be like something that's going to, get us interested in a good or a bad way. It could be like,
Yeah.
man, this is like they're making a bunch of noise like Sonic fucking Youth. But or it could be like, wow, this is like the song of angels,
Yeah. Could be a revelation. Like
could
Girlschool
be.
was a total revelation. I was all expecting to laugh my ass off and think, what a gimmick. Come on, you record executive sexist fucks
Yeah.
forcing these girls up here to play music for a man's world, baby. It's a man's world, like James Brown said.
Yeah.
But no, we got schooled on Girlschool.
We did.
Pun intended, I guess.
We
But
got
yeah,
schooled.
well, I wasn't optimistic with Girlschool, and I wasn't that optimistic about the Go-Go's either, to be honest. But I was pleasantly surprised. I was really happy with the Go-Go's and Girlschool. So we'll see. Maybe Radiohead will convert me into a fan. The difference being, I've already given one of their other albums a shot, and Pablo
Yeah.
Honey did not did not impress me. So
Right.
we'll see. We'll see, man. Maybe it's a change for the better. Maybe it's a change for the worse. I don't know. We'll see.
But yeah,
Anyway,
and
that's our show next time. Like Blasto said, we're gonna cut them down to we're gonna do one album per episode for a little while. See how that goes. Because we got busy lives too. We're busy
yeah,
people.
yeah,
We got shit to do. But we're gonna keep doing. But it also might make it more palatable. We were joking earlier. We're gonna do it like we're gonna record like 10 episodes in a day, like they do fucking Wheel of Fortune. So Pat Sajak can just work like 2 days a year and get paid the rest of the way and live a
yep,
glamorous life, doing nothing but putting on a suit a couple days a week with Vanna White. What a
yeah.
life! What a life,
Do
man!
do 2 days a week, and we got 20 episodes down. It's time for
Yep.
Cabo. We're going down to Mexico. Fuck this
Yep.
shit.
1, 2, 3, Cancun. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
fine with me. All right, man, we're going to wrap this up. Remember, go and like and subscribe and share. Tell your friends about us, and have your Kiss fans, have Kiss Army come check us out. Follow us on social media. We're on Instagram at fullalbumchallenge.com. Just Full Album Challenge. Website fullalbumchallenge.com. That'll be up soon enough. We've got the domain, just don't have the time. We'll get there, but yeah, who uses the internet anyway, right? Who cares?
Yeah, and as you can hear, like we will take every suggestion to heart and give it a good shot because that's what we're doing. So we care about what you people like or dislike,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we might be in the same camp, we might not, but that's the whole
yeah.
that's the point. So
And Gilbert's suggestion this week is a good example of what to send us to, like a well-renowned band, or a well-renowned niche, or something that was critically acclaimed that not everyone likes, or something that isn't critically acclaimed that probably should be, something like that. And this is a really good example. So props to Gilbert. This is a good one. Radiohead Kid A up next, and I'm not excited about it, which is good.
all right, folks,
Out.
we are
That's it, kids.
we're calling it.
Yeah.
We're out.
Time 1:38:40 something. Yeah, go buy our merch too on TeePublic.
But yeah,
It's
we got cool
Get your own
merch.
gluten tart shirt and your
Yes,
own full album challenge. I got the one with the raccoon pulling the album out of the trash.
that is the best.
The raccoon's so fucking great.
It'll
All
make
right,
your
guys, go buy our
coffee
merch.
taste like success.
Yep, absolutely. This was a successful cup of coffee. All like 3 that I had while we were doing this. All right, guys, that's it. Go listen to some albums, send some suggestions, check us out, like, subscribe, blah, blah, all the cliche stuff. We'll talk to you next time, kids.
Adios.
See you guys. Bye.